Pops, it should come as no surprise that Carvana is collapsing. This past weekend, I had nothing better to do, so I actually dug in a little bit deeper. 3 storylines on the Carvana collapse that we have not yet covered that I wanted to put on your radar, okay?
Okay. Don't tell me they're selling their flatbeds.
They're not selling their flatbeds. Dad.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of digging.
Yes.
The co-founder and chief operating officer of Carvana is a gentleman named Ben Huston.
Okay.
Ben and Ernie Garcia.
I think that's Houston.
Whatever. They go back all the way to their days at Stanford, and then Ben went to Harvard Law School.
Wow.
Now, if you Google Ben's name, Dad.
Okay. Student arrested following what? It wasn't him, was it?
Back in 2006 in Boston, Benjamin E.
Houston
was arrested last Friday at 5:20 p.m. for exposing his
genitals
to oncoming traffic, according to Boston Police Department.
Well, I guess that's one way to get them to stop.
One of the issues I see with Carvana, Dad, is their corporate governance. We haven't talked about it on this channel, but I don't necessarily think they have the right leadership team in place to be able to grow what was previously a $60 billion company. I'm not saying you can't do things in your past that were wrong. I had my own run-in with the law when I was, 17? And to be clear, it was not for this purpose. I was buying alcohol as a minor.
Your first week in college.
Yeah, and since then I've stopped drinking and don't drink alcohol, so it's fantastic. I learned my lesson. I'm not saying you can't make mistakes. You always, people do. This is a bad one. This is a bad one.
You're not supposed to expose yourself.
Ah, man. It goes in like the article.
Did it stop traffic? And what about it?
Houston was impeding traffic. McCarthy, the police officer, said so. The officer went over to attempt to get him out of the street. When the officer attempted to arrest him, Houston was allegedly resistant. He made it a point, quote, to make it known he was a Harvard Law School student and that he would see us in court.
What else were they going to see in court?
Corporate governance. That's number one, Dad. That's the first thing I wanted to bring up.
Oh, my God.
Not a good look.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
All right. The second storyline that we haven't talked about yet on this channel, but feels relevant, Dad. Carvana has started selling their vending machines.
Well,
no. There's no well. They are selling.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the whole facility. It's not just a vending machine.
True.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the vending machines have much utility to anyone else.
No.
So we've got, Dad, this comes from Newmark. They are truly selling their dealerships.
Yes.
They are then leasing them back for 20-ish years. The reason that they're doing this, Dad, is so that they can get more cash on hand, correct?
Well, yes, they need. It's called cash flow, and when you owe like $7 billion in debt, okay, you need the cash to be able to service that debt. If you have to stroke a check every month as part of the service on that debt, you need cash. Well, if sales are down, expenses are up. Profits, well, there are no profits because they lost $508 billion in the third quarter. You need cash. You need cash on hand. And one of the ways to get cash on hand is to do this. It's to sell your real estate and then lease it back. And is that wrong? I don't know. I worked for the Penske organization and the Scottsdale 101 Auto Collection before we opened it.
Yep.
Roger sold it for like $130 million and leased it back.
Yep.
So he got $130 million cash, which was more than what he had spent to build.
And those are two companies that he obviously controlled.
Yes.
I don't think that's the case here with Carvana.
No.
They're selling it to other real estate investors. Although the Garcia family is connected to a really big real estate holding group. Verde Capital is the company there. So maybe it is all interconnected, but it's definitely a cash grab. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, they need money. Nothing says thanks quite like going to joinyaa.com and typing in thanks20 to get 20% off on your YAA Plus membership or thanks 100 to save $100 on your vehicle service contract.
All right, third piece of this puzzle, Dad, is going to be retail units are no longer being sold at retail. They're actually wholesaling them, and Carvana is, and they've wholesaled for a long time. They're advertising on social media to car dealers to buy their wholesale inventory. This is a big, I think, a pretty major development. They are paying for ads to sell cars to other dealers. if you remember correctly, Carvana came out of Drive Time, all that fun. They're a car dealer, folks, typically to subprime folks, but they're a car dealer. Okay. No, now they are selling their cars to other dealers.
Are they selling them through the Odessa Auto Auction, or are they cutting out the auction and just selling them directly?
That's a really great question. I don't know.
Attention car dealers, Carvana auctions 95% first run sales rate and starting prices equal to the floor. Policy ensure a painless buyer friendly experience. Well, according to them, they're priced to move, and they've got the flatbed to help move them.
So, Dad, it's a super interesting story with the collapse of Carvana, and I want to tie all the way back to the initial point, which was corporate governance and the team.
How about Ernie Garcia III? He's the son of Ernie Garcia II, who was involved in the savings and loan scandals that took place. What was it, in the early 90s?
Yeah, Lincoln Savings Bank.
Lincoln Savings and Loan.
Yep.
There was that stuff was going on in Arizona when your mother and I first moved there.
There was a gentleman named Raymond Fidel who was actually the CEO of Drive Time way back when. And if you'll reckon, and Raymond was kind of like, from what I've read and from the people that I've talked to, he was kind of like the steady hand. Like he grew Drive Time to what it was. He's nowhere involved in the online spinoff of Drive Time, which is Carvana. The team that is, Dad, it's a bunch of guys who met each other at Stanford or Harvard. I mean, it's truly a bunch of guys from college who had an incredible amount of, I'll say, opportunity because of Drive Time.
Yes.
They set up a business. They had a heck of a lot of tailwinds. A lot of things went really well for them for many years. Now this business is facing a ton of headwinds, man.
Yes.
I know you're not a big cyclist, but imagine going up a hill with a 30-mile-an-hour breeze in your face.
I can't even imagine walking up the hill with a 30-mile-an-hour breeze.
And this is the team you got around you to do it.
Well, one would hope that they have the ability to navigate this. But based on the amount of losses, and we're at like $1.5 billion just for this year.
Yep.
Based on that, one would have to assume that really this might not be the perfect set of executives in order to pull them through this.
And I think that's something we haven't talked about. We've mocked maybe the business model. Not maybe. We've definitely mocked the business model at times. I'm not so sure the business model is flawed. Drive Time was a fine business. Carvana for a period of time was a fine business. Tailwinds again, not headwinds. Yes. I bet you this business model can work. I think you need different people running the business for it to work and a different approach to running that business. It's just an online car dealer that typically preys upon subprime people. Like they make a ton of money on financing and warranties, just like a car dealer. So like it will evolve. It will happen. I'm just not so sure it's going to be this team that does it.
Might not be. It does. Let's just say it's not looking like it.
Definitely not. All right. Thanks for watching, Pops. And we'll keep our eyes peeled for other interesting stories. Let's see what I do next weekend when I'm researching.
I can't wait.